Hey y'all, what's up? It is Roy here. A little bit of Roy's randomness. Driving to the lake, and I've mentioned this in many videos before, but when you drive, it gives you an opportunity to think. It gives you an opportunity to talk to God. It gives you an opportunity to put on some good Christian music and just really immerse yourself in God and His goodness, and just to have thoughts, just to think about things that are part of your life. Driving is a chance to kind of be by yourself and just think. You're driving, you've got your map set, GPS, everything, and you're just going somewhere, and you have time to be by yourself and relax or whatever you prefer to do. You listen to music. I mean, like I said, it could be anything. And I've mentioned, that I really enjoy driving because you get to do those things. And then that is some of my favorite time is just driving and having time to think. And I kind of today got to thinking about a thought I had the other day. And I actually started writing it down in kind of a poetry / spoken word type of deal. And I stopped it. I was like, this just isn't how I want this delivered. So then as I was driving today, I got to thinking about it even more. And I thought, man, my mind's just been running on it. And I thought, I just need to make a video. Like, I can't get it off my mind. I keep thinking about it. Like, I just need to make a video and talk about it. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's talk about it. But the thought behind it, the main idea behind all of it is the dining room table. And the lack of the dining room table nowadays. When I was originally writing it, I had written it out, the table is broken. The rectangle thing in your dining room right outside your kitchen. And I was, writing it out. But the dining room table isn't broken from Uncle Roy coming and sitting on the table and breaking it on the edge, or we pulled it out too far to put the leaf in and now it's off the track and it won't go back together. Those of y'all with big families know what I'm talking about there. You've had to pull your table out at holidays and when everybody's home, and you've had to put the leaf into the table, and you know what I'm talking about. You pull it a little too far, you pull it a little wonky, you can't get it to close again. Yeah, lots of fun. But I'm not talking about the table being broken that way. I'm talking about the table and its use being broken. Its lack of use being an issue that has created issues today. And this isn't just an issue, at home. It's an issue everywhere. I can remember growing up and, if we did, I'm not saying we had dinner at the table every single night. I feel like, from my memories, I do feel like we ate a lot of dinner at the table. I do remember as I got older, occasionally there being a dinner that we had in the living room, or there was a dinner that, I'd run to my room. We weren't ever allowed to have food in our room, but, I can remember taking food to my room. So I'm not saying it was every single night, but I can remember having dinner. I can remember Mom making dinner and having dinner for us. And me as I grew up, I can remember getting done with school and coming home, and it was, hey, go to the table and do your homework. And that was a focus area. That was a place that Mom knew she could have us go to sit down away from the TVs, away from our video games, and away from everything. Go to the table and do your homework. And that was the first thing we did. When we got home, we got a little snack, and we went to the table and we did our homework. And as we grew, it was one of us. Then it was me and my sister. Then it was me and my sister and my little brother. Like, as we grew, there was more and more of us that sat at this table and did homework. And then being involved in athletics, being involved in sports my whole life, I would come home and I had to get my homework done because I had baseball practice in an hour. I had baseball practice in an hour and a half. And so I would come home and I would do my homework, and then we would leave and we'd go to practice. And when practice was over, we came back home. And there was those rare treats, those rare days where we'd go get something to eat on the way home. we go to Mr. Gaddy's Pizza. Man, they had a little buffet, and back when Mr. Gaddy's was Mr. Gaddy's, had a buffet, a little game room. You had the big screens with the Little Rascals on the TV, and then you had what we called the adult TV room, and it was just regular shows. But in the kids' room, it had a big TV with Little Rascals and cartoons, and those were the rare treat nights. Those were the rare days we got to go and do that. But we would come home from practice, and we'd have dinner at the table. If we hadn't finished our homework or whatever, we would finish that at that time. And we had dinner at the table as a family before we did everything else. Like I said, then we would, if we were watching TV, if there was a show that we were all going to watch, we'd go watch it. We'd put a movie on or whatever. That's what we did. But it seems to me that doesn't happen anymore. There is no more go to the table and do this. There is no more having dinner at the table. Everything has been traded for convenience and speed. Everything has been traded for cell phones and TVs and video games. And there is no more family time around the table. And me being 37 years old, I miss that. I still wish that I could sit around a table with my parents and talk about my day. And I do that with my wife, and I can come home and tell her, oh, I did this at work, and this inmate said this, and I can do that every day, and it's whatever. We don't sit around a table. We sit on the couch together, and we talk and watch TV, and so I'm not sitting here saying it's not a problem in my own home. It absolutely is. Cell phones and games and TikTok and Facebook, and I am as guilty as anybody out there. I am in no way saying, this is just a problem for families. And no, it's a problem for everybody. And a lot of it, maybe it's not the table. Maybe it is the cell phones. Maybe it's the fact that we can't get away from technology. We didn't have that growing up. So maybe that's it. But the idea being, when you sit at the table, come in from school and go have parents send your kids to the table to go do their homework. Don't let them go get distracted by a TV. Don't let them go get distracted by their cell phones or their tablets or their video game. Make them go to the table and do their homework. Go in there and help them. Sit at the table with them and help them. I can remember my mom doing that. I can remember, having an issue with a problem, and mom would come over and try to help if she could. I remember that. I remember sitting around the table, and we weren't allowed to watch TV. We were literally told, no TV till your homework's done. And no going out. When we were kids, we went out and played with our friends. We went out and rode bikes around the neighborhood and ran through the woods, and I had a pellet gun. We'd go shoot squirrels and birds and this and that, and shoot holes in all the cactus on the property. And that's the kind of stuff we did as kids. And I know that doesn't happen anymore, it seems. But we weren't allowed, those were things that we enjoyed. And it was, no, you need to get your homework. It was discipline. You need to get your homework done first. Then you can go do this. It was, like I said, if it was baseball practice or basketball practice or, football practice, whatever it was do your homework, go to practice, come home, eat dinner, then you had your time. But all of that involved family. All of that involved family getting together and talking. I can remember Sundays coming home from church and sitting down at the table and mom having dinner ready, mom making lunch. And it was, whatever it was that day, whether it was, baked chicken with broccoli and whatever else, or no matter what it was, we'd come home from church and we would have lunch as a family around the table. I learned how to pray. I learned how to pray from my dad, how to bless your food. And I understand there's people, I don't pray for my food, God knows we're grateful, God knows, no, but I learned how to pray by hearing my dad say, God, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for this opportunity and this food. We thank you for everything you've given us. And we pray that you'll bless this food and be with us as we go throughout our day. In Jesus' name, amen. As simple and casual of a prayer as that is, it still means something to hear that, to as a family sit around a table and hear my dad reach out to God and just say thank you. That taught me something, and I learned from that. And that doesn't happen anymore. As a 37-year-old man, I miss that. I miss that time with my family around a table. And the only time we get that anymore is when we all meet up at a restaurant, and we go to that restaurant, and Dad will still pray over the food. Or if it's Dad doesn't, then I will. And the problems, though, still is that cell phone. And again, I am not saying anything negative to anybody. I'm not talking to myself right now, because I am always on this cell phone. I'm on it right now talking to you. Like, I'm always on my phone. I get it. But it's a problem, and it's not, like I said earlier, I mentioned it's not just a problem at home. I want you to think about this. How many restaurants do you go to and there on the table is a kiosk, because everything's about convenience now, less work for people. It's all about making things easier for people. But there's a kiosk on your table, and you pick it up and you look at it, there's their menu flashing across, menus, and then all of a sudden a game will pop up on there, and it'll say pay $1.99 to play games your whole visit at the restaurant. And it'll have trivia or something like that pop up on there. And I've done it. I've looked at it and been like, oh, does a cow sleep standing up? Yes, they can. Okay, cool. Well, is this a dolphin or a fish? Is it, I've seen it, and I look at it, and no, I've never paid for those games. I won't do it. I just don't see the point. But those are there, and parents will pay $1.99 so that their kids have something to do. Their parents will pay $1.99 so that the kids can sit there and play games, and they're out of their hair. They're out of their way. If the kids don't have cell phones, that they're on that tablet. And these restaurants like Chili's and Cheddar's and so many others. I mean, that's just the ones off the top of my head, but they provide these kiosks as a form of entertainment, and it becomes a distraction from what you should be there to do, and that's to have food together. And when you're not on those tablets, you're on your phones, and the kids are on their phones, and there's no discipline. It's all a distraction. It's you can't get the kids off the phone to make an order on the menu. And if they don't have their phones, or you don't allow it one time, 2 minutes into the meal, I'm bored. What do I do? I'm bored. What do I do? Like these. Why do you think there's no discipline anymore? There's no patience anymore. Everybody is constantly, you have to have something to do. If you don't have a phone in your hand for 2 minutes, you have to have something to do. All the ADHD and the ADD and all that, this stuff is, I understand it's psychological, it's mental, and it's real, but a lot of it is created by our instant gratification of a cell phone and a game and a constant distraction. There is no more family time. There are no more families sitting around a table going, hey, how was your day today? There's no more families sitting at a restaurant and just sitting and talking and going, hey, how was your day today? That doesn't happen anymore. And that's why kids are left to themselves. Kids don't feel like they have anybody to talk to. So kids turn to the internet and they learn everything from the internet. Kids don't have a family that wants to sit around a table and talk about your day. And I know that sounds cliche. I know that sounds just, you're harping about sitting at a table, but it's important. It is important to sit around the table with your family and be a family. Turn off the distractions. Turn off all of that junk and just talk to each other. Go to a restaurant and don't play on the tablet. Put your phones in your pockets and talk. Eat some chips and salsa. I love Chili's chips and salsa. Go to Chili's, get some chips and salsa, and sit there and talk about things. Talk about life and what is happening. Like that's what it's about. And you want to see an improvement in America? You want to see a change in our youth and a change in our future? Get off the cell phones and be a family. Get off the video games and be a family. Those things are all good in their time. I play video games. I'm on my phone all the time. Those things are not bad in themselves. I'm not saying anything bad about those things. I love watching a movie, that we watch TV. I'm not sitting here saying those are bad. What I'm saying is limit them a little bit. Fix the table. Fix the dining room table and sit down at it as a family. I'm not saying you have to do it every day, but do it more than you're doing it now. I bet a lot of people hearing this can't remember the last time they've sat around a dining room table and had a meal and talked to each other. I'm willing to bet most people hearing this cannot name the last time that they did that. That it wasn't a special event, special occasion, family get together or whatever. It's just truth, and that's what it is. And that's why I say our tables are broken. If you want to see a change in America, you want to see families come back together, you want to see respect and discipline and patience and all of those things come back and see a change in our generation and a change in our future, then go back to the dining room table. I promise you, it's going to make a difference. Go back to the dining room table, turn off the distractions for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, sit down, have a meal. I don't care if you'll get a $5 hot ready pizza from Little Caesars. I'm not sitting here saying let's go cook in the kitchen and this. No, go grab you a $5 hot ready, but sit around the table and eat it instead of everybody sitting in the living room watching TV or in their rooms on their cell phones and their video games. Sit around the dining room table and say, hey, let's eat some pizza and let's talk. What's up, guys? How was your day? I think you're going to see a massive improvement in your family, your communication, your life, your closeness. And maybe we can fix some of the generational problems that we're having right now and some of the issues we're having in America by simply going back to our dining room table and fixing it. Just my thought.